Good morning, guys. The critic is here. The realest thing coming out of Guyana, undisputably and possibly the world. Wagwan. This morning we can discuss President Granger. His inability to address the situation and the plight of Guyanese. Guyanese are affected as a result of what is going on, as a result of poor leadership. Guyanese are affected grossly. Guyana is affected. How Guyana is seen by the world has changed. Guyanese, and I should let the world know that like every other country that has idiots, we have idiots too. But they are few. Unfortunately, they are the highest point in our society. Idiot lawyers and idiot political leaders. Full up the tank for me. Full up the tank. Yeah. I think something like this. Oh shucks. Oh shucks. I didn't think I know. Something wrong with you, see. Talk to me, cooler. Talk to me. Cool me down. My hat this morning, my hat. The Chief Justice, we can play a piece of the Chief Justice. What the Chief Justice said, and we can go back to certain things that they're simple. There's clear as day. It's clear as day is what's going on. Now, there is no possible way. There's nothing to win about this case. There's no substance. The appeal court will listen to it. They will listen to it. The appeal court has become predictable. If you think of the dumbest judgment ever, think about Guyana Appeals Court. It's affiliated with specifically 2 judges. Like, what's the craziest thing could happen with a case that is no case? It could become a case at the Guyana Appeals Court. So keep that in your head. The Guyana Appeals Court is predictable. Has become very predictable. You would expect judges to hold themselves to such high esteem. The appeals court like this reading judgments written for them. I know Justice Reynolds. I don't know the other league, but I know Justice Reynolds. I think when he was a magistrate, yes, I knew him when he was a magistrate. Former military man. I thought, you know, I would have thought, and this is my experience. I know in America they're always trying to put judges, you know, would act in their favor. But I would have thought that, you know, these people would hold themselves to such higher esteem, and they would be of impeccable character, because you need not damage your character for stupidness. You understand? At least never help the PNC. The PNC is the last cause. You understand? It's like you trying to hold back a volcano. It don't go and fall. Are you trying to build some fence to hold back a tsunami? Tsunami? There's nothing humanly possible that could control forces of nature. You understand? How you just get somebody say I should crash and dead. Well, that's why I was wearing my seatbelt. You dumb motherfuckers. don't realize. You could talk where you want to talk. Huh? I should crash and dead. Fortunately for me, meaning to them obey thing where I was doing too. You understand? There's a reason why you got airbags and you drive at the speed limit and you wear seat belts. Hopefully I don't die in the event that I crash. Right? So take care. Dumb motherfuckers will feel you could go and do your work and change the circumstance that is clear as day the world has seen. You understand? Yeah, special. Yes. How much are you, babe? $5,969. Jesus Christ. Let's switch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thanks, huh? Yeah. So, for the Obia Jumbies then, we feel like we could walk Obia and change something. Running by the parliament with the Obia. If something could have worked Obia, could have worked for help with situation, Parliament would have been an Obia church. You understand? Congress Place would have got to Obia church. They just riling up y'all with y'all stupidness and facilitating y'all with y'all madness. Pandit all walk Obia. The Pandit left his arms where he knew and walk in Obia. Because like the understanding where he got of Hinduism becomes contaminated and confused. Hinduism has been a culture and a religion, right, that has worked, however you want to put it. I know the intricacies of what and how to look at it, right? But however you want to put it. But it has been a system that has worked well for some people. And this striptease, farmer striptease, nothing wrong, anybody can change their life. But the boy obviously didn't change his life. A boy who think he's a stripper, you understand? The stripper pandit this guy. He gone from where he does normally do and gone with the Obia by the coffee there. What's really wrong with ladies and tal, by the way? Are you serious? Hinduism has worked well. Stick to where you know. It's guided people, so everybody stick to where you know. Nothing wrong if you do. You're a little Obia, but why telling you? Listen to me. Let me simplify for the hungry bellies and the low lives out there like the one we're hollering. I should crash and dead. It's highly unlikely that someone like me, people like me, will make so much of confusion on earth, you have to get old and suffer. So y'all rule out death. You understand? We got suffer, we got them in wheelchair, little girl got take free money, them kind of thing. You understand? We stun them kind of old man though. Right? Put up your head and think in your old age, right? So rule out death. You could pray for sufferation for me because I looking forward to it. You understand? I looking forward to it. My arthritis in my foot. Pray for my arthritis. You understand? Because you know what's the funny thing about this thing, and when you're praying for other people, like y'all do y'all hope you work, it don't happen to y'all. It's only me could suffer and dead. It's only me could dead by accident. You know? All y'all with y'all Obia Jumbi and y'all voodoo, y'all impervious to them. No. God bless y'all. Y'all are blessed souls. Y'all can't dead. Y'all gonna live forever. You understand? Coronavirus can't kill you. This is the light thing. This is the nice thing what I like about everybody who wishing somebody else bad. You can't, nothing can happen to you. You alright. You and God got a pact. He don't tell you. You going to heaven. All you gotta do, you understand, is make sure you don't come in like smelling like 10 lime for 100. That's all you gotta do. When you go in them bus, them sour one, they mouth more sour than anything else. It's beer sourness coming out of their mouth. They ain't got stink mouth, you know. Sour is a different thing, it's acid. You could smell it from them. The acid. It burn you. You get fear them and your eyes start burn, water start running. Okay? You ain't crying because you feel bad. You're crying because of the acid coming out of the mouth. No. I don't understand what's wrong with Guyanese. Guyanese talking like and something like they don't think what they're talking. You wishing somebody for dead and you wishing something for happen to somebody. I don't wish nothing for nobody. I tell you straight up. You understand? Grange is a menace to this society. This he is. He has become a menace. The man is a menacing man. Look at how much people are suffering. Come on, do the right thing. He didn't bring up his daughters in a bad way. Look at how he brought up his family. Look at how he's lived personally. How can you live a good, decent life and do not want that for everybody else? Come on, everybody's entitled for that. When you were given that position as a leader, it was to act in a manner that people can emulate in the future. Not for you to go rogue. Every time I talk to some people had the best hope for David Granger. You understand? Some people had the best hope for David Granger and PPP people. Well, don't talk about the PS. They in when you talk to them, people shame, people want to talk. Me want to talk. Me want to talk about you. Me president, I'll explain to me what good but your president. What are the advantages of your president, the disadvantages of your president? Confused, no explanation to give. Beer, total confunction nonsense. You gotta come. You gotta come as a leader. You say you abide by the... Look, listen to yesterday's judgment. The smallest child would realize, an uneducated person would realize, because of the simple form that the Chief Justice explained our judgment in, because of its simplified form, and look at judgments of the past and look at these judgments, you realize the judges are making it simpler and simpler because they are understanding that the people are lacking of understanding. The judges too are evolving. The judgments are not coming with all kind of fancy word and complication. It is coming in very simple form for people who lack understanding to understand. That is what is going on. Even the judges are evolving. Now, what's the next move? Somebody asked him, what's the next move? The next move is the courts of appeal. The court of appeal is predictable. It's very predictable. The court of appeal, in their past judgments in relation to matters with the PNC and its acolytes and its utensils, the Court of Appeal have acted in a manner contrary to what is expected. Now these are judges that should hold themselves in high esteem. You understand? These people have been through the legal system. You don't get to be an appeal court judge just like that. You don't just jump on the bench from Madrid. You gotta have a certain amount of experience, right? So the courts of appeal two judges have been acting in manners that is basically worrying. And it's not nice to talk about things about learned judges and said there's court, but there's whatever they find you in contempt of court. You can't find me in contempt of no court. The last decision that the Court of Appeal made, 2-1, in favor a decision that went on to be misunderstood by Keith Lowenfield, the CEO for GCOM. A decision that should not have been made because of the fact that they should not have asserted jurisdiction. They didn't have jurisdiction. They take jurisdiction from one position and looked after a different matter. It doesn't work like that. The CCJ swept aside their decision and everything with the Court of Appeal, showing that something is wrong with the Court of Appeal. This is the second time, or I think it must be the third time, the Court of Appeal made such decisions. The Court of Appeal, the judges at the Court of Appeal, clearly shows their inability to count. They did not understand, or they were unable to fathom a formula, or the mathematical formula, the foundation for mathematics that allows, foundation for calculus, that allows for the addition of 32 and 33 to equal to 65. They did not understand that. They did not know that. They went with the fact that there's some half man somewhere. I don't know. Who is the half man in the parliament? There was a half man in parliament. I don't know if they're making jokes out of midgets. I don't know what is going on with them. But it is said that half of a man is in parliament. At the time, we did not know if he was half PPP or just half of the PNC. The Court of Appeal, two judges in the Court of Appeal, have made judgments before that defies all logic. Funny enough, what happens? The law is there. Laws are guided by the Constitution. The Constitution is supreme law of Guyana. The Constitution. Everything else comes. Everything that is under the sun in Guyana. How Guyana is guided, how GCOM works, how GRA works, how the Guyana Police Force works, how the Army works, what happens when it happens, how it happens. All of that derives from the Guyana Constitution. The supreme law of the land. And what, like the PNC, is evident with the appeal court is that they misinterpret the Constitution. This is clear. In the CCJ's ruling that they didn't have jurisdiction, and even the CCJ ruling with the 32 and 33, you realize the appeals court judges 2 against 1 in most of the cases as it relates to PNC matters. You can see the appeal court acts in a certain way. The Guyana Police Force acts in a certain way when it comes to things what is cabal doing. So there's a bit of cohesion here. There is cohesion in Guyana. It's just not social cohesion. Right? There is cohesion. There is cohesion of corruption. You understand? Y'all follow me drift? This is for the slow learners. I can go it slow for you, If you do not understand what is going on in Guyana, let me tell you, what we are discussing is the PNC's loss of the March the 2nd election. The world knows. Everybody saw, except for the PNC and their followers. Their supporters are gone. They are only left with followers who follow blindly. Is that, do you want me to go a little slower? It is very unfortunate that we have found ourselves in this situation. But it is not limited to unfortunate, since the actions of the cabal to hold on to power is deliberate. As a result of clear attempts to rig the election, Guyana is facing sanction. The RVL? No, this one is special ed. If you're not a slow learner, this can affect you. Because if your brain is not accustomed to processing cassette, you know the cassette, you just got to take the cassette and sometimes the cassette, the tape rile up, and you got to take a pen and a pencil and roll it back in and so on. So for those of you, I should tell you before I go into the special ed classes, it can be confusing, it can be frustrating, but this is specifically tailored for PNC followers and PNC lawyers and PNC politicians. This is uniquely tailored for them. Being slow learners, it is important that we use a different method and a different educational process. And this is tailored based on people's ability to understand. Now, to understand at any level is a trait that needs a certain background of knowledge to be able to comprehend what is being placed before you. You have to know about this thing, right? Like when you're presented with a word, you have to know whether it's a verb, an adverb, a noun, and in understanding the meaning of the word and its background and its purpose, you will then know why it is placed in that unique position in a sentence. Right? English language is very simple, I must tell you. Most people did not know that English language is as simple as it is. But firstly, you have to know it to understand it. English language is, yes. Comprehension, very simple. But again, you have to have a background of knowledge in the field to be able to process. Right? For proper pronunciation of words, you would have to have a good understanding or command of your vowels. And this comes from the Guyanese Critic, who in most cases is, what I would say, astronomically, grammatically incorrect. For good reason. Since we are in the 21st century, in this day and age, with a population, 75% of which speak Creolese. And I'm thinking for the better good of Guyana, in prosperity and in moving forward, judges should learn Creolese, because it is obvious that the lawyers that represent the PNC are not very well learned in the English language. This is shown in their constant misinterpretation of the English language. Right? Just for some clarity, I hope you understand that. Okay, so let me tell you what we're going in. Me at the stupid man. You can't even talk. Hey, what's that, people? Hey, what people are. Imagine them orangutans, the hungry bellies and the low lives. Hear the hello? You can't even talk good. You can't talk. Right? You can't even talk good. But everybody understand what me I say. How does this work out, man? Me can't talk, but everybody understand what me I say. And them liars can't understand what the judge say. How does this work? Are you tell me how does this work? Liars not understand what judges say, and the whole country understand what me I say. The whole country. Now hear what I'm telling you. Guyana has seen or is seeing a surgence of lungeras. You remember lungera? Lungera. A lungera, that Harry Lalo walk around a kick brick. You are lungera liar. Lungera politician. Guyana got the most lungera in the Caribbean. Them are special. Somebody said they come in and protest in front of me. Well, that becomes a normal part of my life. What you could do? I am, by the way, with 2 protests in just 1 month, I am the realest thing coming out of Guyana and the most protested person. That is the second portfolio that I hold. Because I don't think they ever protest. Who they ever protest by? Imagine I fall in the category like the American embassy would turn me down for visa. They get protest, I get protest. And I get, here I tell you, I bigger than the American embassy. That's joke. One time I had 15 people and 25 people. The American embassy only had about 3 people or 4 people protesting by them. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning, brother. What's up? Long time.
Talk to me.
Hey, we're into strangeness in this country, right? You know what I would like to see happen? I would like to see the appeal court actually rule against APNO.
Here was the funny thing.
I want them to actually go and challenge, go to the CCJ and appeal to the CCJ.
Here what telling you.
This is what I want.
Here what telling you, brother. Here what telling you. You can't put it in that terms. What you have to request is the appeals court to do the right thing. Not rule against them. If they're to do the right thing, the ruling will come against them. You understand? We gotta see the appeals court do the right thing. But remember, they ain't actually doing the wrong thing, you know. The appeal court is walking a thin line, but leaning for one side of the line. You understand? They're going around this thing and using interpretation or the misunderstanding of an interpretation of law. So they've given themselves this little back door that they can ease out.
I get what you're saying, brother.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I get what you're saying, right? But I really want to understand how they could interpret and misinterpret, because I would like to see how they explain to the CCJ how they misinterpret what they read.
Well, listen to me. Here was the test for the appeal court. This matter is the test for the appeal court. Because it is clear. There is no leeway or flexibility. And I know yesterday, knowing that they were going, remember, is a whole cohesion, right? Of corruption. It's cohesion of corruption. Now hear what I'm telling you. Yeah. Here what gonna happen. Yesterday, they obviously was listening to her judgment. They obviously knew what case is going to be brought forward to them. They're looking at that and they're looking at loopholes because you're a judge. You ain't doing nothing right now. This is the biggest matter in the country. The balance and stability in the country depends on this. You know you are going to be approached in the appeal court. What do you believe these judges are doing today? You'd be mad. Do you know how a judge develop a background and an understanding? They're well read in the law. They continuously look at matters. You understand? Which in how the court works is in the front, in the face of things. The reality is you bring a case, you present your case, and I act impartially by looking at your case like I saw it for the first time. You understand? And I'm acting on evidence you give me and presentations you make. So the judges sit there and act like they're oblivious to what has happened in the world before. And every case is dealt with as an individual case. And now people present their case and present their arguments and the judge makes a decision. But in actuality, to be a judge and to be of the background, like these CCA judges and so on, you would have to constantly be up to date with what is going on around you in cases. You understand? You can't deal with cases as they come. What are you doing? What does a judge do? Are they drinking and sporting and partying? You understand? With a feeding dog? No. They would have listened to the Chief Justice decision yesterday. And they're looking at all the pros and cons. And the judges who know got their way of leaning, whether it's backward, forward, or sideways, they're looking at it and calculating what we're going to do. People are having discussions. Here was the problem with Guyanese. It's 750,000 a week in this country. I have gone across this country in a day. Do you know that? I went to Letem, Borbis, Bardo, and the Venezuelan border in the same day. You understand? If I want to know what is the situation or how our border security stands, I could fly to the main and most important corners of this country all in a day. It's 83,000 square miles in which 750,000 people exist on an average, and the bulk of those people are on the coastline. So it's a small place. Everybody knows what is going on. We are factoring out that most people in Guyana are ignorant. It is evident with our actions and what is going on and the confusion that is amongst us in our inability to understand or comprehend what is going on in the legal realm and everywhere else. In the political realm, you still have people who are generally honest and open-minded that do not understand or have not seen and realized, have not been presented with enough evidence. I don't know why they can't fathom it, but they have not been presented with enough evidence to give them a clear understanding that an attempt was to rig the election and the whole world is against the PNC because of one reason. What the world saw, what the world saw, and what the world continues to see, there are people within this country are blind and oblivious to. Matter of fact, Lord knows, some of the only things that are etched in stone in the 21st century, unlike many other things in the world that are not etched in stone. The fact that Mingo was caught, the fact that deliberate attempts one after the other by the PNC to rig the election in favor of themselves, those are facts that are etched in stone. Undeniably so. It is fact. We can't sway from though. There are things like laws, like the Constitution can be amended. You cannot amend what Mingo did. It is clear Mingo made an attempt to rig the election. On the day he did so, his staff with spreadsheets, on the day they did so, samples were taken. 3 boxes were tested. At Hatfield and High Street, this was done by Keith Lowenfield, the CEO of GCOM and the boss of Mingo. And when 3 samples were taken out of a number of boxes that were called out on a spreadsheet, SORs were read out on a spreadsheet, SOPs as a matter of fact, statement of polls. On March the 4th, when the samples were taken, it was realized that the numbers were not in conformity with what the SOPs were saying, and the ballots in there were, ballots were added, not the ballots itself, but the number was added 100 in some cases, as much as 100 in some cases, in favor of the PNC. That is a matter of fact. It can't change. It was witnessed by the international community. It was witnessed by accredited observers. Bear in mind, nobody infused themselves. Nobody forced themselves upon this government. There was an election. After it was completed, it was considered to be free and fair. Before that election, as per agreement of democracies, we invite and we were visited by observers, local and international. We invited and then we were visited by. A process commenced. It was considered to be a democratic election. It was held on March the 2nd. On March the 3rd, it was seen as free and fair election. If you check what is free and fair when in the context of discussion elections, that means credible. Everybody agreed on that. On March the 4th, mayhem broke out. You want me to tell you why mayhem broke out? Because sometime on March the 3rd, like the PPP tabulated their SOPs and realized they won, the PNC tabulated their SOPs and realized they lost. And that is where the shit hit the fan. They immediately commenced the program to derail a democratic process. Now, where have we gone from there? And why would I come and forge such a great lie on this society about the PNC and their attempts to rig the election? Do I have any facts? Do I have facts to put up towards their accusations? Well, I can tell you, as I stand here, I, the world, most Guyanese, most diplomats, have facts. All the PNC have is accusations. It is very simple. There is no long form to what is transpiring here. You can say, look at the undemocratic attitude and vulgar attitude of Donald Trump. But in looking at that, in it being highlighted, one has to respect that that is democracy in process, because somebody in America skinny up. The Americans them skin him up. That doesn't void us of ensuring that we don't end up like them with a madman running the country. And in this case, not a man who's very meticulous about what he does. This was well planned and well orchestrated. It is becoming evident every day that this didn't happen whimsically and fancifully. If a lawyer knows when a judgment is made, he sat there listening to the Chief Justice saying that the court cannot be misused like this. You can't just come into the court every time come into the court. And by the time she completes her judgment, he makes a request for leave to appeal. That means that he did not hear what she said. And he did not care to hear what the Chief Justice said. They already had a plan. Win, lose, or draw, they would have gone there. And there is no lawyer in Guyana. I can tell you there's some dumb lawyers. And if you ask a stupid lawyer, there's some crazy lawyers. And if you ask a stupid lawyer, did the PNC have a winning case which they presented to the Chief Justice? Obviously not. It was clear as day. There was no case to be won. They knew. That is why they were ready to apply for appeal.
But you realize, Critic, that these people are appealing to the appeals court who already ruled on the same thing. They're appealing. What are they appealing on? What grounds? To
Listen
the
to me.
appeals court.
It would be interesting to see the appeals court's decision.
They're appealing the judgment of the appeal court. That's exactly what they're doing. They're appealing a judgment that's already been made by the appeals court.
No, but don't forget, the appeal court is in their favor. And not nice. It's very worrying because I ask myself, the appeals court's actions, what does it speak for the judicial process and the future of Guyanese? You know, I don't know if we tend to forget that everything that guides us, that is why the system is set. The executive is the president. The legislative and the judicial, right? It is set in a way because that is what guides us. It's like your brain and your heart, and you understand? So you have it in an order. And when your heart start going bad, buddy, you can get a heart attack. You understand? You can get a problem. So one has to ask oneself, what all these actions mean for the future of Guyana? Immediately as this election fiasco has completed, we have to commence judicial and a review of the Constitution immediately, because we are going to this is worrying. It is like yes, last night I could not have explained it anywhere than these banners going to the court with shit in their hand and the judge saying, no man, this smells like shit, it looks like shit. Yes, and no, right? And they're saying, no, it's not shit. And they start sipping it out of a glass. Licking it, right? Like it's a cone. And you smell it, you know it's shit. But you're calculating, how? No. It's not possible. Yes, it's not possible. It's not humanly possible for someone to do that. But it is factual. This is what is happening right in front of our face. You understand? So it is, like me, I question myself. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I was saying, I said, man, why can't we counter what these people are going to do next? And here where the problem lies, in trying to counter what the PNC is going to do next. When you have a logical thinking brain, what you do is, if there are 4 routes, what you do, you look at the route, and one route has a tiger on the path. The other route has bees on the path. And the other route has alligators through the path. Let's say there's streams and different other routes. And one route is a clear path. You understand? So, you using a logical thinking brain, calculate that
the path they're going to be is the clear path. It is safe. It is the right thing to do. It is secure. It is short. Right? And what you do, you go in the bush to ambush them in the clear path. And you lie down there. And all you hear is, ah, ah, yap, yap, right? A man gone walking through the path with the tiger there. Get bite up. You understand? Come out hollering. And you say, watching now, hey laugh. Remember, all the parts stand from one direction. So when you watch west, you see tiger there through the path. When you watch south, you see alligator there through the path. When you watch north, you see bee. And when you watch east, is the clear path. And so you the east waiting for them. So when this man holler tiger bite up, he scrape up, he run out. You waiting now, you gonna ambush you. Last the head gonna happen, you know. You hear, ah, scratch a pow, meow, meow, cat, bite up, he run out, he come back to the center. Then you say, hey, he come in now, he learn the lesson. The man run through the alligator them there. Yap, yap, bite thing there. Man run out with one hand. Right? You saying, here, me got you now. When he come through, he done got one hand. Me got you here now. I got lash in the head. I catch you here now. Next thing you hear, swee, wee, 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 bee, and the man hollering. And the man run out again. So, in trying to, when you have even lawyers trying to figure out what the PNC would do next, what they do next is the impossible. And a logical thinking person can't think of the impossible. So you can't catch them. Every time you go to think what they will do next, you sit and here you think, what's the craziest thing? And when you look, here you say, no, 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 they wouldn't be so crazy. That is impossible. It is embarrassing. You understand? Nobody is so crazy to carry a case like that to the court. You hear me? Nobody's crazy enough to carry a case. And they appear in the court. Masinga Jones got some case. Where Masinga come from? Poor Masinga named Steen. Masinga be gonna know the biggest dummy for life. You understand what's going on? If you sit and try to figure out what next they will do, a logical thinking brain does not allow you to think about things that will cause you harm. People calculate, watch. There's a winning thing here. Right? So even if you choose the winning thing, they do the craziest thing possible. That is what is going on in this country. Unbelievable what they do. And then you have a president, because you're thinking, when you come out and you say, man, the president said, I will stand by the law. I said, no, boy. You can't talk about these things seriously. You can't talk about these things, no course. Anybody I meet that say, oh, it's so sad. We have a sad situation. You know what I'm saying? This is sad. This is a fucking sad situation. Fucked up. You know what I'm saying? This is screwed up. I want you to think about Sarah Ann Lynch sitting in the American embassy and looking out at these people and what's going on in her head. Hello, good morning. Yes, oh, okay, me credit like it done. What is going on in her head? What is the world thinking about Guyanese? With our actions. Somebody say, oh, this is vexatious litigation. It's beer, scunt. You know vexatious? Don't use fancy words here. You go confuse people. Even in the interpretation of what is transpiring in Guyana, we are erring. This is not a joke. In our interpretation, a man just said vexatious litigation. It's not vexatious, it's bare scunt. No ifs and buts about that. If you go on CNN to explain what is going on, they put me on CNN, they got to put a bleep. Because you can't explain it. When you say vexatious, there's a normal circumstances. There's a legal term. The term for lunacy. The lunatic explanation for what is happening is bare scunt. Yes, sir. You can, if you're a priest, a pastor, if you never cost your life yet, you need to see clear as day, because they ain't no other way for explain it. That encaptures everything. That encaptures the unholiness of the war and everything. If they came up in the morning show up factory, they gotta put a bleep because I saying it, buddy. If anybody asks me, if the American embassy called me and promised me a visa right now, and asked me to say some good words on behalf of, give an explanation of what is going on, and I have to be very delicate because my visa depends on it. The way I speak, it is very important what I say because my visa depends on it, right? And the American embassy come and say you're going to get a visa, but explain to us what is happening here. I go ahead, I say, Madam Sarah, let's just bear scunt. And bam, the people them say, you deny for visa, get to the fucking embassy. I can't accept a visa to go to America if I can't get the truth. Why I go into the land of the free and the brave if you telling me for lie? It's deny again. The place for the second time, you stupid ass. All we tell you is for talk nice. Watch your language, children listening. Hear what I'm telling you. Anytime you train your children, and don't tell your children the one time, I know your children nice, yes, I know the one time your children need to know what's going on. Your children need to know that when you become an adult, you don't have any right to curse. Stop it in your mouth anytime you curse. But there is one time when you see anything like this with the PNC, what they're doing, yes, sir, you must say, Mommy, this is bare scunt. No, I tell you. The only time check, because how, you know, baby, as a young girl, I experienced some things with the PNC and their lawyers, and you know, back in like when people talking about the 60s. You imagine you telling when you grow older, you talking nice about how you explain that? They ain't got no explanation. A Christian lady needs to tell your child, babe, that days was beer scunt. Straight up. You understand? And right away, they say, Mommy, I never hear you use a word like that. Mommy must say, well, here I tell you, that thing bring up memories I don't even know how to explain. You can't explain it. You can't explain it. If your child would be given the opportunity to curse without getting a slap his door, how you explain? Let that child know. You explain to them when they grow big. Or if you want to curse, anybody asks you what happened, clap one slap and they plant die, box in the face. Then they hold it. Oh God, what happened? It's not just what happened. We mean no, we knock me. If I say no. Me knock you. Me slap you as per slap. That is the explanation of what happened in 2020 election. Because remember, you get a hot slap, all your ears ringing, your mouth hurting, and there's no explanation for why your mother slapped you. Remember, you asked a question, Mommy, what is the election? Platter, one back to your face. You hear what I'm telling you? one box in your face. So, mommy, oh God, why you slap me? What are the feelings you're getting? Me ears hurting. My mouth bust. And I'm confused why you slap me. Same thing with me. I transfer my feeling to you. Child, I don't want you cussing. Don't use this back. Don't use my words, but this beer is cut. I can't explain why I slap you. There's no explanation why I slap you, and there's no understanding why I get slapped. It's simple. It's total confunction nonsense. You understand? Good morning, sir.
Mr. Critic, I see you're slapping people.
No. Here we have now.
Any slapping on the radio.
On the circumstance, under the circumstances, I am trying to place in the people's head, how do you relate to this? And how do you translate it into an understanding? If somebody were to slap you for no cause at all, first thing is, you would feel pain and you would be confused as to why this thing transpired. So to simplify, because Guyanese are expressing a high level of ignorance, right? Illiteracy and everything else, that confusion follows. But let me leave that side. Me don't tell them though. Let me go straight into.
But I want to use a quote that Albert Einstein had said many years ago. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And you know, Einstein was a very brilliant fellow, and these guys have recognized what is happening in Guyana. I recognize it insanity, and the people of Guyana got to recognize that our dictatorship, the Granger Cabal, has literally gone insane. They're literally gone insane because they've lost all perspective. They've lost all moral integrity. They have no decency. And they've literally, when you see a madman in the road, that's exactly how these people will be operating. Nothing will be rational going forward. They will just, and you know, there's a Greek dictator who became one of the longest serving dictators of the world. You know what was his mantra? His mantra was one more day. Every morning when he wakes up, he always wakes up with the idea, how can I stay in power for one more day? So I don't expect them not to go to the Court of Appeal. I don't expect them not to go to the CCJ. I don't expect them not to go back again to the High Court, because they're just holding out by the chinny chin until the sanctions kicks in, because there's stages of sanctions. The second wave is already been approved and it's coming. It's called the asset
freezing of assets.
Freezing status. The asset freezing status. And that is all.
I want to tell you something, sis. I want to tell you something. It ain't coming. It's done. Good source. One man tried to access his account and could not. So they mean, remember, coming out public and telling you is not really the thing. The coming out to public and telling you that your assets are being freezed is the embarrassing part of it, right? But one person tried to access the account and it's already been frozen, and family assets have been frozen. So here I want to talk about this, because we're talking about the actions of this cabal, and it is clear sanctions is here. First thing they said can't happen, the bluffing, and it is here. It is a reality. What I want us to discuss is the reality of the future of Guyanese and how Guyanese will be affected. That is what I want to discuss. Have you looked at the numbers as of recent as it relates to our treasury?
Well, the numbers, one of the things that has happened as a dictatorship gets enforced, what will happen is that the Bureau of Statistics will collapse. And the reason why it will collapse is because in a dictatorship, they will want to hide numbers. So the only credible organizations we have now maybe is the central bank. And it's only a matter of time before they try to shut that down as they did in the Burnham's time. And make it into what we call an organization that cannot do its job. But let me give you an example of what is the status. When Mr. Granger came into office, he made $15 billion in gold.
This is US dollars we're talking about?
Say again?
Is it US dollars or Guyana dollars?
No, this is Guyana dollars.
Guyana dollars.
I'm talking about the Bank of Guyana balance sheet.
Okay.
He made $15 billion in gold. Today, as of July 8th, so it's not even today, that was last week, the stock of gold that the Bank of Guyana has possession over is only 0.7 billion. So it moved from 15 to 0.7 billion.
Which is less than 1 billion.
Yes,
right.
Less than 1 billion. Right? So that is one of the big implications of this regime. So they sold all that gold and they spend that money out. Now, the other thing that you look at to see how strong the institution is to find out how much foreign reserves they have. And that is a big, big challenge because the Bank of Guyana foreign reserves are in trouble, real serious trouble. And I can give you an example again. We have lost about close to $200 million in foreign reserves under Mr. Granger. Close to $200 million.
How are you attributing to the loss of foreign reserves under Granger? How you attribute that? There has to be some...
You can state what he meant in May 2015, and you can state what he has now.
Okay.
And he has about $501 million in the treasury right now.
And how much he met when he came?
About 700 million, 699, around 699.
Okay, here was the next thing. Was there a loss of any of our foreign reserves over the period, the 3-year period under the Dana Ramatar regime?
There was also a loss under all these governments. I mean, the height of our foreign reserves was 825 million. And under the Donald Ramatar regime, we lost about 125. But we lost 200 million. Actually, the Donald Ramatar government was more than 3 years. It was from 2011 all the way to 2015. So we lost about 125 million, but there was a reason for that. And I will be very clear. Look at the price of oil under Donald Ramatar. It was one of its highest level in the last 10 years. And our main consumer of foreign reserves is gasoline and petroleum products.
Oh.
But on the Granger, look at the price today. Look at the price today. The price of oil in 2020 was at one of its lowest ever.
So you're saying based on that, we should have better foreign reserves?
We should have had an expanding amount of foreign reserves because we're spending less on oil. And the question that bothers me is, what are we spending this money on? Because, I mean, our economy has not changed seismically since Mr. Granger came. There's no it's actually one of the big challenges is we've lost some export revenue via the sugar industry. Because the sugar industry under Ramatar was bringing in over $100 million. Today it's bringing in about $26 million. So we lost about $75 million US in revenue. Now you're a businessman. If you lose $75 million of your revenue in your business, you ain't cooking on gas, bro. You cooking on something else. We really, in a strange way, and you know, the mantra they keep saying all the time, oh, we solve all these problems with the oil money, with the oil money. But the oil industry is one of the most unpredictable industry in the world. Our revenue in that oil industry is determined by the price of oil. And we saw with our own eyes how the price of oil plummeted in the last 12 months. How it plummeted. You know, it went as low as $20. Now it's recovered some. But the question is, it is like a yo-yo industry. And it's driven by factors that Guyana have zero control over. So we're a price taker in the oil industry. Hence, we're like a sitting duck or a sitting reindeer in the middle of the road. And we gotta hope and pray that the man coming with the truck with the two lights see us. That's the situation with us at the oil industry. We have no guarantee how it will turn out. Now, the other thing that Granger is not telling anybody is that all of the oil earnings are banked by Exxon in a United States bank. Now, when that sanction, as you just cleared up, the sanction is already here. So now that the sanctions are here with the asset freeze, the first thing the United States government will freeze is the resources from the oil revenue in the Bank of New York. Then they'll move to stage 3. You see, sanctions just like Granger's saying about a 4-step approach. Well, the Americans got a 4-step approach for him too. So step 1 was the visas.
By the way,
the perpetrators of the fraud,
sis,
and then step 2 is the asset freeze.
Sis, let me just stop you there, because there is the perception. As a result, a perception has been created, or a narrative has been created, that they could hold on, and by time Trump come out, the Democrats will have a different approach. I must make Guyanese aware that the treatment of Guyana is not as a result of Trump's whimsical and fanciful ideas. It is as a result of American foreign policy. You understand? A standard policy across the board as to how people with dictatorial tendencies are treated. Just to clear up things. Don't make, because Lampy and Pampy on Fiction Network telling people how we go wait for 6 months over the sanctions are done and the Democrats gonna change it around. Now, we could not have had sanctions if it wasn't a collective reasoning of the Republicans and Democrats. You don't just wake up in the morning and bring sanctions against a country. Thought would have had to be put in that. And it has to be in...
I want to tell Lampy Pampy something.
Yeah.
I want to tell Lampy Pampy, and I want to guide them to a statement made by the U.S. ambassador when she schooled Mr. Granger on the difference between foreign interference and diplomacy. And she highlighted at that point in time, and this is what you have to understand. The U.S. ambassador is a professional appointee. She's not a political appointee. Some ambassadors to like special countries like Russia, well not Russia, sorry, actually, special ambassador to countries that America, you know, the Republican Party wants to put forward, they get political appointments. But Guyana is not a Republican or a Democratic preference. We are too small a fish in this global ocean to be even given any preferential treatment. The treatment we're getting is from a group of professionals in the State Department, in the NSA, in the Defense Department. These people they transcend government. They don't depend on Trump for their job, or they don't depend on Biden for their job. They just do a job professionally and in their professional analysis. And I want to make this clear. They have a foreign policy that transcends government. And they're basically saying for the next decade, America will be sitting on a bedrock principle of three things. And this is listed in the ambassador's statement. She said the bedrock principles are: one, human rights. Any country in the Western Hemisphere who thinks they want to violate human rights, trafficking with women, domestic violence, racial crime, they will hear from America. That's one. The second thing, a big deal in their government, they will hear from the Americans. And they will come down on them like a ton of brick. And the third thing is transparency, money laundering, asset theft, all these kinds of things, stealing of elections. It's principles. This is a Trump thing. And that is what Lumpy and Pumpy need to understand. And if they don't understand, the chances, even though a lot of them believe that Trump may not win, this is early days in the presidential elections. Magic happens. We don't know what will happen between now and November.
Sis.
Lumpy and Pumpy should not exhibit their ignorance of American politics and try to make these
Sis.
on who will come.
Lumpy and Pumpy have a following of ignoramuses, right? That affords them the opportunity to exist. Now here what I tell you. Foreign policy is foreign policy. It's not political narrative. And the reason, they just gotta look at Cuba. Cuba has been one way under the Democrats and the Republicans.
Exactly.
And although Obama come and try to twerk things the other day, it's the same way they ever come out and jump on a plane and move a little bit and thing. But it's the same thing. Nobody open up to them because you have to change and we change likewise. You understand? Nobody, no government, no American government is going to stand by and see anybody gerrymander democracy on these levels. People claiming ignorance. So the first time the court is accepting ignorance. The courts have to reach a stage where they don't listen to certain cases and they chase PNC lawyers from the halls of the court. I am going to tell you something.
In all fairness, as you saw yesterday, the Chief Justice lectured them because she closed some doors. One of the doors she closed definitively, which is now sealed in sand, 6 feet under, is the Mingo numbers. She said those declarations from March 13th is irrelevant in accordance with the CCJ judgment. It is now dead, dead, dead. So Lumpy and Pumpy could take oxygen, life support, and all whatever they want to. Those Mingo's numbers, where he tried to alter the Region 4 figures, they're now dead, dead, dead. The other big thing that happened, GCOM has also officially set it aside. So Harmon and Lumpy and Pumpy and all of them, they can run high, run low. Jump high, jump low. They can scream from the top of the mountains. Those numbers are dead, dead, dead. We'll never, ever revisit the boardroom of the Guyana Elections Commission. Never. That is certainty now. The courts have certified it. The international community has certified it. The people of Guyana have certified it. If they are dead. So we want to see now where they will find numbers from. Because there's only one set of numbers that are alive in our 2020 electoral cycle. And it's the number that was recounted at the Otachong Convention Center. And those numbers are set in stone now. 460,352 valid votes. As the CCJ said last week when they were giving their judgment, the point of validating or invalidating a vote is in the counting room, not in Louis Field's office. He has no power to validate or invalidate. That's not his role. He's the adding up man. He just add up. He don't do nothing else. He has no power to interpret what was already interpreted by the public in the counting room. He has no power. Zero power. Let's make this absolutely clear. And all levels of court have already clarified this and sealed it only yesterday. That was made extremely clear by the Chief Justice.
Lucidly.
No power to invalidate anything. And he's a creature of the chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission. He must know his place. He's not a constitutional officer.
Oh.
He is a utensil.
A posy. The boy is a posy. He used to be pissed in.
He has to follow her instructions, like it or lump it. And if he can't do the job, get out.
I see, I wonder, why is the chief, why is Claudette Singh playing along with these people's games, knowing that she's given the right and the opportunity and supported by the judicial system for the most part, continuously? Why do you think she's playing along and giving them all this time?
Critic, I want to ask you the same question because I have the same wonderment. So why do you think she's because if I was in her shoes, Chief Justice issued a decision yesterday at, let's say, finished at about 5, I would have emailed my entire commission and my secretariat and says, I want to meet all of you as a matter of national urgency at 7 p.m. tonight. Let's start this process rolling. This nation cannot wait any longer on us. Let's move. It did not happen. So let's say, suppose, they wanted to read the judgment, as they always, the bright boys in the Congress place always say, give us some time to read the judgment. So I said, okay, read all night. Let's have the meeting at 9 a.m. this morning. Still didn't happen. There's no meeting on. So I want to ask you the same question. I don't understand the rationale of the Madam Chair in
simple terms. And, I ceased to talk about it, but I did call her out on many occasions. I can tell you, the deception or deceptions of the devil knows no bounds. I rest my case.
Yep. I mean, of note, I have to reflect. I saw the U.S. ambassador said we should give her all the support she needs. And knowing how wise the U.S. ambassador is, and I am saying this out of genuine statement, because when you see the quality of analysis coming out of our office, the Office of the United States Ambassador to Guyana, it is superb, comparable to any stuff I see coming out of GCOM or any other place in a long time. Amazing analysis. And that is why I want to err on the side of caution and defer to the Madam Ambassador, Her Excellency Ms. Lynch, and because there is maybe something she knows that I don't know, but I can't understand it. And I think logically,
well, I can tell you, my brother,
there must be something more.
I can tell you, you are a professional, and I respect you as a professional. I think the ambassador is very much a diplomat and a professional. I respect that too. But I have become respected for calling things for what they are, and then it goes on to find that they're factual and truth. And I say, the deception of the devil knows no bounds.
But while we play this reception within the power centers of Guyana. We went to West Bank Demerara to share some hampers last Sunday. Viva La Force, Riesland, Wales, Potential. It's good intent. And I'll tell you something. While with a few of us, you know, in the connected class in Georgetown, play around with deception and subterfuge and this kind of writing game and thinking game and see who can outthink one another. Real people, real Guyanese people are imploding economically, socially, mentally, physically. They're collapsing. People are cutting their food intake on a daily basis across this country. The suffering is real. Real. And this is what pains me the most. To really understand what manner of people will sit in Georgetown and grief the system to hold on for one more day, not realizing the consequence of their selfishness is the destruction, sometimes permanently, in the ability of a nation to rise up economically, socially, mentally. This is the devil himself only will do something like that. Only a devil will think about themselves to that extent with their 10-car motorcade and have the ordinary Guyanese people think so that they can stay on top of the throne. It is only a devil will do that.
Thanks for your input and your time.
Thank you very much, man.
Mr. Sesnarayan Singh, we talked.
All right, bye.
I want to tell you something. You, each and every single one of you, whether you're PNC, whether you're PPP, whether you were antifungal, cream, whether you were at the antifungal cream party, whatever you are, how do you see yourself? Whether you are Muslim, whether you're Hindu, whether you're Christian, voodoo specialist, these things have background. Whatever you believe in, I'm saying, whatever is your belief, whether you're Indian, black, or Chinese, whatever you are, Amerindian, whatever your educational background, I must make you aware, or I wouldn't be doing the job that I promised to do. Your actions play a direct role in the happenings around you. And if you fail to recognize wrongdoings, those wrongdoings are going to grow. I'm going to use fancy words. It's going to grow. And it comes back to haunt you. The followers and supporters of this cabal who are trying to hold on to power at this time are not seeing that. You will be directly affected. We all will be directly affected. But you want me to tell you how you all will be affected more? Because in your sufferings, you will know that you caused this upon yourself. These egregious acts by this cabal will unleash suffering of a different kind on Guyanese. But some Guyanese will have the understanding that it's not that cause this for me, they have something to blame. And the blind followers of this cabal will have nobody to blame but themselves. And ask yourself, how daunting will that be upon you? Ask yourselves that. It's very important. That being said, I want to use this opportunity to wish a happy birthday to Michelle from your sister Annette and your mom Esther, all from Florida. I wish you have a happy birthday. Good morning, stole by some foolish people. Right? We gotta end with something. Somebody gotta get something nice out of this. Make sure I get the names right. Annette and Esther, wishing Michelle a happy birthday. No message from a singer. And also today I got my friend Chris, his sister's birthday today, his twin sisters, and tomorrow is his birthday. Chris, you guys have a great day too. So Michelle, happy birthday. Critic need to go have a chat with who? With Granger. I can't imagine what me and a man could die. I would ask a man one question. Why would you do this to Guyanese? This is the only question I could ask, and I know he can't explain it. I know he can't explain it. He's never thought about it. Why would you do this to Guyanese? That's all the question I got for ask Granger. Why? Why would you do such a thing to Guyanese? It's ridiculous. People suffer. People are suffering. As we speak, they suffer. God, man. Wake up, Mr. Granger, wake up. We're people who want to see yourselves as pillars of society, but are the scourge and parasites that denigrate and destroy what we have taken so long to build. The men who want to be seen as having integrity, dignity, honesty, but wish not to show it, wish not to wear it as a badge on their shoulder, wish not to commit the acts that would suggest that they have integrity, that would suggest that they're honest, that would suggest that they're decent. I reach out to you, man. Speak to yourself. Let your conscience be your guide. If there's any bit or semblance of a conscience in that shell, wake up. Wake up. Do the right thing for your people, for your family,
for your name? Imagine you're a president of a country and you will go down in history having less respect than a man who has a crazy hairstyle and speaks in proper English. Imagine being a president. And your history will be written as being nothing less than a miscarriage and misuse of justice. A trampling upon the people. God, man, wake up. Do the right thing. Do the right thing by Guyanese. Do the right thing by God. How can one who fears God be so elusive and deceptive if that one was not the angel that was cast out of heaven himself? Ask oneself, how do you want to be seen? How do you want to be remembered? We are at a place and time in our country that history is being written in a manner that when we read in the future, there will be utter laughter and disrespect for the Guyanese people. We are at a time and place in our lives that we need a genuine leader to stand up and make decisions for the best interest of all. There has never been a more overwhelming need for a leader to stand up. The cries and suffering of the Guyanese people are supported by the speaking out and the exposure of the iniquities of this cabal by all and sundry, our cousins, the Caribbean community, the eagle in the eye, the Americans, the Europeans, the English, the former colonialists, the Canadians. Everyone has spoken out against what has happened, clear as day for all to see. One has to ask oneself, what is the definition of enough under these circumstances? And it is clear that this cabal has caused enough destruction to Guyana in all forms, whether it's our moral standing, whether it is our racial understanding, the thing that fuses us together as Guyanese, whether it's our financial status. All you people have been is utter destruction, a destructive force to us.
There's no time, and there has never been a time before in this country that the importance of a leader is needed. There's nothing wrong with being a leader who accepts one's mistakes and move forward. It is obvious you people are void of love for the Guyanese people, and you have a great overwhelming greed in you for power. It is evident. But in all your madness, be aware that every good thing comes to an end. How that end affects you, how you're seen, and what your future looks like at this point in time, you can still decide. There will be in the near future a point of no return. Where you guys, the cabal who tries to retain power at all cost, will be seen as a scourge to society and parasites of which nobody likes. I rest my case. And all I could say, President Granger, carry on smartly. Have a nice day.